This is Talking with Springfield Township. I'm Kurt Radel of Waycross Community Media. And with us today is Scott Schardine, who is the Director of Public Works. Scott, welcome.
Thank you.
Snow's coming. It's a bad word.
Yes.
Don't even want to spell it.
That's correct.
Okay?
That's
Don't
correct.
even want to spell it. But tell us about what you need to do in terms of snow operations for Springfield Township.
Okay, in August, our fleet maintenance facility begins basically preparing all of our trucks, going through all the trucks, the plows, the spreaders, lights, you name it. Some of our trucks are used all year long. Some will sit until the next season. It takes us probably a month and a half to 2 months to get through all of those trucks. And they do a fantastic job. They take care of them very well. The other thing that we start looking at early on is making sure we have plenty of salt in our salt dome. Our salt dome holds 5,000 ton. Make sure that that's full or very close to being full. Our liquids program, which has come a long way in the past 5 years, we house almost 30,000 gallons of liquids.
Now I want to ask you about what makes up the winter treatment that you put on the streets, the mixture.
Okay, that mixture is 80% salt brine, 20% Magic minus zero. Magic minus zero is made up of magnesium chloride and a feed grade molasses. It is a distillery byproduct.
Now, do we have deer afterwards getting a little bit woozy?
Well, I don't know about that, but maybe it could be. I
could
don't
be.
know, right?
Right,
So
it could be.
That could happen, I guess.
But what does that do to it? I mean, I've never heard that particular mixture as a component of it.
Right. The number one thing that does for us is it's environmentally friendly. Number two, it helps with the placement of salt. Each one of our trucks has the capabilities of holding 120 gallons. You mix somewhere between 10 to 15 gallons per ton of salt as it comes off the spinner and hits the road. Regular granular road salt, as it comes off that spinner plate, hits the road and it will bounce. When it's mixed with a liquid, kind of think of a consistency almost of oatmeal. When it comes out, it's placed and it stays where it's placed. Number two, probably a more important factor is it's much more environmentally friendly because it's diluted everything down. It's easier on our equipment. It's way better for the infrastructure, definitely for the stormwater system.
Now, tell us what the steps are that you take during the snow day, and how many crews do you have to call in? How much typical mixture will you use? I know that would vary from how many inches, but take us through those steps.
Right, and if we can talk about our liquids program just a little bit more. There are occasions, every single storm is different, but there are occasions to where we have the capabilities on 4 different trucks that we can put 1,000-gallon tanks in and we can spray the roads long before the snow ever gets here. And what that does is it doesn't allow the snow to bond. In the event that we have to plow, it's removed much easier. Also, if it's not a heavy snow, it will allow the snow to melt on contact. We've done a lot of testing over the years. We're very proud of us at Springfield Township that we've taken the steps to do a lot of testing. Other municipalities has also bought in with this and looked at our facility, looked at how we do our stuff, modeled after us, which again, I think we should be very proud of that as Springfield Township.
So when we know you're going to have snow.
Right.
So you find out a day ahead of time, morning of. How many crews do you typically call in? Take us through that process.
Right. We have 12 total routes. We have 92 lane miles of road in Springfield Township, and I think, as we all know, a lot of that we go through another municipality to get to another part of the township. So there's a lot of area to cover. 12 total routes. We have 12 large trucks with 2 backups, and then we have 5 smaller trucks, what we'll call 1-ton trucks with plows. They generally will take care of the smaller streets, some cul-de-sac work, and then all of our buildings, all the township-owned buildings, they take care of as well.
Now, you talked about the treatment and the snow, and if it's soft snow. What if you're hit with, and I hate these, the ice storm?
Oh boy, yeah, and we did. I mean, we've had that. That's a tough one. Temperatures, every storm is different. Every single one is different, how you handle it, what you do. Ice, the best thing that we do is we will hit that with our liquids program, and we will spray as much liquids on the street as we can. And then we will go back and you try to get a layer of granular salt mixed with our liquids on the pavement before it ices. We've been successful over the years, and I think I owe a lot of this to our Magic -0 program that we put into place, our liquids program, I
Do
should
you
say.
change the mixture a little bit as opposed from snow to ice, or does it stay the
No,
same?
it's 80%, like we were saying before, 80% salt rind, 20% Magic -0, and we're pretty much good across the board. And we're good to almost 20 below zero there. And I know Christmas of 2022, we had a heck of a fight on our hands then. We got quite a bit of snow, we got some ice, and the temperatures were crazy, but we still were able to conquer it.
Now, how do you determine the budget? I mean, do you look at the Farmer's Almanac? Or
Well,
how do you come up with that?
Well, it's a guess, I mean, that's the best we can do is guess. What I like to do, and thankfully I have the support of the elected officials and administration, that I like to be full this time of year, fill everything up. And then from there, we use, and then what happens is, since we had a light winter last year, it didn't hurt our pockets so bad to refill, if that makes sense.
So you had a reserve in terms of salt and that kind of stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, we can, again, we're full, like we talked about earlier, we're full of product right now. But again, you look at how many times we went out last year, it wasn't bad, obviously, last year. I pride ourselves on the service we provide. Let's just say, for instance, if, excuse me, if we called the crews in at 10 o'clock, we felt the streets were clear at 5 a.m., it's a weekday. People are going to get up early, right, to head to work. Based on the forecast, streets are going to be bad. School's going to be in, and school going to be an hour delay. We make sure our crews stay to get through that rush hour traffic, and I'm very lucky to have a crew that's bought into all that as well.
And I'm sure you have communication not only with the township officials, but also school-wise.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of times, some of our school resource officers might go ahead and make a call to me. I mean, just for instance, this past winter, it could be 3, 4 in the morning. Like, how are we looking out there,
People still tend to park their cars on the street, and that has got to cause a great deal of difficulty for those snow trucks.
It sure does. I mean, just getting around, think about the size of the trucks that we have. You have a 10-foot giant piece of metal on the front of it. It's tough enough to get down there on today, 80 degrees and sunny and dry. Most of the time you will see that we're out in the dark. Most of the time it's dark when we're out there. If people can get off the street if they know that there's snow coming, it is so helpful for us. And I mean, it's noticed.
And I shared with you before we started, my little tip, if I will, I have a driveway that goes straight up. So what I do is I park at the bottom of the driveway, just above where the sidewalk is. I don't have that much to plow. Banking on the street will be clear, and then I can go out and worry about the driveway, perhaps when I come home. That's a better thing. I'm off the street, and that's what you want.
Right, exactly. If we can get off the street, it's great. I know we have signs that says, there's a snow emergency or whatever. Obviously last year we didn't have a snow emergency, but it just helps so much to give that larger truck a little bit more room to work.
Now let's shift gears.
Okay.
We talked about snow. Now let's talk about that hurricane that came through, which is devastating. Branches down, everything. It's horrible what happened.
Right.
Tell us about the brush pickup program.
We were prepared for that. We probably started preparing by Wednesday morning at the very latest. We were able to put
And it came in on Thursday, just for the timeline, Thursday, Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
But as we were hearing about it,
Right.
possibly hitting our area. So we got our first call with a tree down blocking a road in our Hollydale area, probably around 3:30. Then people were calling the Public Works Department and the Police Department. That's another thing about our township. We work very close together. Police, fire, Public Works. We're one big team. So we were able to start moving trees out of the road. Well, by the time we got to, I want to say probably 6 o'clock, we were almost to the point of being overwhelmed. We wound up getting our loader out and just pushing the trees to the side. And I kind of called it to the crew at that time. I said, we're just going into damage control mode right now. Roadways, clearing driveways, and sidewalks. That was what we were concentrating on. Crews stayed late into Friday night, came back Saturday, was able to give them a little bit of time off on Sunday. And then Monday, we came back in, took an assessment of where we're at very early Monday morning, and then we went into debris removal. After looking at things this morning, we've made well over 525 stops right now between our 3 crews. What we did is we split the township up north, south, and center. And we're trying to take calls. Residents have been fantastic understanding that, hey, we understand it might be a few days till you get here, but we've got a really good response. I think the residents are very happy with the service we've been providing, and we're really trying hard to get it knocked out as quick as we can.
I've always been curious. You have a huge tree, goes right across the road.
Right.
What does it take and how long does it typically take to clear that?
A while. So usually we'll put 3 guys there. We'll start cutting it apart, moving it out of the road. Let's just say, for instance, Friday, that's what we were doing, just cutting, pushing, moving it out of the road. Now when you come back to clean that up, we'll bring a piece of equipment with a grapple on it, and we'll actually log it out and then put it in a truck, bring it back to our shop and dump. Right now, we're creating quite the large brush pile that we'll have to basically contract larger trucks to haul out and pay to have dumped. But right now, we have the space at our public works facility. Get it off the street, get it out of the residence yards, get it back to our facility, dumped, and get back out there and do some more.
Scott, I appreciate what you do, what your
Thank
people
you.
do. It's not the easiest work. You don't want to get calls at 2 and 3 in the morning.
Right.
But it's what needs to be done.
Yes, absolutely, it needs to be done. And I'm very lucky to have the staff that I have to be able to do this.
And what I have seen in the time I've been here at Waycross is the fact of the great communication, as you alluded to earlier, between all the departments of Springfield Township. It's very, very well done.
Thank you. And again, I'm very proud of that too. I have a very good working relationship with police and fire. I believe they feel the same way. I mean, Friday night, it was impeccable how we worked together, all 3 departments.
Thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
This has been Talking with Springfield Township. I'm Kurt Radel, Waycross Community Media. We'll see you next time.